Welcome back to Tutorial Tidbits. I'm Elizabeth St. Hilaire. My studio is a disastrous mess right now because I've been working on my new collage landscape techniques workshop over the last several weeks, trying to get it done for my self-imposed deadline. Also, I have been working on my new book, Fashion Plate Portraits. Why I did them at the same time, I have no idea, but I'm just like that. So anyway, you can't even see the floor in here, which is why this tidbit is late, but here it is, creating greenery, collage paper greenery for landscapes with one of my new stencils for joggles on the gel plate, layering green and using one stencil over and over itself again. So if you've got a few minutes and you're not too tired, maybe you'll see this tomorrow morning, let's go check it out. This week, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into how I create green papers for landscape collage. And this is in anticipation of my upcoming landscape collage techniques online workshop. That is a 9-week online workshop with pre-recorded video lessons with specific dates. So the class will run from January 28th to March 25th, and we'll have a virtual classroom where everyone can upload what they're working on for comments and feedback from me, but the lessons are pre-recorded so that you have each week to watch them at your own pace, watch them over and over again. It's not live, so you can watch them at whatever time of day works for you, but you do have live feedback for the duration of the 9 weeks from myself as well as your fellow students in the virtual classroom. So if you're interested in more information on that, click the link that appears in the video. So here we're going to have a sneak peek into how I create greenery for collage paper. Now, greenery in landscape is generally with light is dappled. Now that means there's going to be lights and there's going to be darks and there's going to be mediums, and papers that have all of those colors sort of dabbling together give you the effect of light coming through the trees or into the greenery without you having to tear lights and tear mediums and tear darks and glue them all down and try to achieve that effect. We're going to create paper that suggests that effect. So the colors I'm using today are golden fluid acrylics, permanent green light, phthalo green yellow shade, everybody's favorite green gold, and sap green. So that's a nice wide range of greens that I've got. I've got my 8x10 gel press plate, and I've got a 6-inch gel press brayer. I've got a pad of rice paper. This is the only rice paper I suggest for the gel plate because it is thick and durable and it will not tear. It has a smooth side on the top as it comes off the pad. The smooth side is on the top. The rough side is on the bottom. You want to put the smooth side down onto the plate. And today I'm going to be working with a pristine stencil. Can you stand it? It's not been used yet. It's clean and pristine, and we need to mess it up. This is a design of mine for joggles.com. This is actually a mask. This is what they call a framed mask. So what is a mask? A mask is where the plastic mylar forms the design. The negative spaces do not form the design. The plastic mylar, the positive, forms the design, whereas in a stencil, the cutouts form the design. So this is a mask, but they call it a framed mask because it's got a frame around the edge. I know it's confusing. They all basically do the same thing, but technically this is a mask. So what we want from this is the ghost print rather than the paint that goes down through the holes. And I'll show you that in a minute. So our first order of business is to create a light colored solid. So for that, I'm going to start with my lightest color because in order of light to dark, our colors are going to go this way. We're going to go from the green gold to the permanent green light to the phthalo green yellow shade to the sap green. So I'm going to work in layers from light to dark. Okay, I always work from light to dark so that I can build layers of multiplying patterns and textures. So I'm going to start with the green gold. So working from light to dark, I'm going to start with the green gold and I'm going to create just a light colored solid sheet of paper. So here I've got my 6-inch brayer, which is nice because it covers the 8x10 plate really quick. And I'm going to take that rice paper, if I can get the sheet out of the pad successfully, and create just a sheet of green gold. That is the first step one. So again, this is a nice, thick, durable rice paper. It's not gonna tear. And there's my green gold. So the next thing I need to have is a piece of scrap paper. So I'm gonna grab a piece of paper out of an old coloring book here, a couple pieces, because I want to have a scrap paper so that I can take the paint out of the negative spaces in that mask. All right. So our next layer is going to be the permanent green light, and we're going to do that. And we're going to christen that Rocks and Roll stencil. So here I'm rolling out that color, putting the stencil onto the plate, and whoops, not yet. We're going to take the scrap paper and take out the color from the negative spaces because we want the pattern that's created by the mask. So we're going to, and this is a great pattern too, don't get me wrong. I'm just going to apply a little more pressure to see if I can clean some more color out from in there. This is a fun pattern too. But what I want to use is the paint that's trapped under the mask. So when I lift this up, I've got a positive image of this pattern. And then I'm going to print that onto my green gold. We can most definitely use this for something else. So now I'm transferring that masked image onto the green gold. And you can see that it is a duplication of the mask when you do it like this. So this way you have the negative spaces, which is the holes, and the mask is white. It's leaving no paint. This way, the paint that was trapped under the mask is positive, and that's what we're getting. We're getting the impression of this onto this paper. So now we've got to go another layer darker. So we're going to take the phthalo green yellow shade, and we're going to roll that out. I don't need to clean my brayer because I'm doing green and then green and then green. So if this mixes in with the previous color, that's fine. You can roll it off onto a clean sheet of paper off to the side to clean it if you want to. If we were going to be switching colors from the green to the red, you would really need to get it clean by rolling it off onto a clean sheet of paper. I have a book that I use. So for this reason, I like to use two brayers. If I'm doing warm colors and cool colors, I'll have two 6-inch brayers. I'll keep one for the greens, blues, and cool colors, and I'll have another one for the reds, yellows, orange, and warm colors. That way, if there's at all any paint in this, it doesn't contaminate the yellow or the orange with the cool green. So it is nice to have two 6-inch brayers, one for warm and one for cool. But since I'm not doing any warm colors today, one will suffice. So now I've got my next layer of green of darker green. I'm going to put the stencil on in, let's see, this way. And then I'm going to take the cleanup sheet. I'll use the same one on the other side and remove the paint from the negative spaces. And again, that leaves us with trapped paint under the mask that creates the positive image. Now, there's a little extra paint going on there. We didn't get it all out. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm going to, if you look at this and that, this is the way we printed it last time. So I'm going to flip it around. Not that you would ever line it up perfectly, but I'm going to flip it the other direction so that I'm for sure going to have the pattern crossing over itself because that's what we want. So I've flipped it in the opposite direction. I've got my second layer of green, and now I'm starting to get that building of layers of green and dappled light. So now I need to come in with the sap green, which is our darkest green. And sap is not as dark as Jenkins, so I hope it's going to be dark enough because I'm out of Jenkins at the moment. But we really need to get to a dark green so we can have that dappled light effect. So we've got light green, medium green, and dark green. We want to have 3 values, and we want to have them overlapping so we can tear little pieces of that paper and make it look like light coming through the trees in the landscape. So we're going to then bring this over itself again and I don't think it matters which way we do it this time. But again, we're going to take the negative space out. That's a neat effect. That one actually is the same direction, but it's not perfectly lined up. There's still some paint in there, and I do want to make sure I get it out this time. So I'm going to use a new sheet. There we go. It's a little better. But I want a crisp impression this time. We had a lot of green left over in the negative spaces. That's why we're getting this, which is fine. But now I've got a nice crisp pattern, and I'm going to put that over this. And I like that a lot. There's a little bit left over, so I'm going to flip it in the other direction and see if I can grab it again. And now I've got a sheet of paper that's got layers and layers on it. And I think we have room for one more layer. We either have to go darker again, so we could darken down that sap green, but we're pretty dark there. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about doing a little teal, because teal is opaque. It will go over the top of even dark colors. It will cover everything underneath it. So let's do a little teal, just a little, and blend that in with the... Let's go with the light, the green gold. So now we're going to get an opaque light green. Opaque means that it will cover up the layer below it, and it will not be multiplying and blending like these are. So we're going to go with a light touch on this one. So we're going to, this light green is then going to go over, and hopefully we'll make this very interesting. So again, let's use a scrap sheet to take the color out of the negative spaces. And all these scrap sheets I will definitely put to use for collage paper. I will do something on them that I can use them for collage paper. Now, teal has got a lot of white in it, and white does not like to come off the plate very easily. So we're going to pull another print with a new sheet of paper, see if we can pick that up. There we go. And we're going to lift up the stencil, and you're going to see that we have this wonderful rocks and roll stencil mask pattern in the positive, and it's got some opaque teal in it, so it's going to go over this. And we're going to flip it in the other direction and print it again. So you can see that that is standing up on top. And now we've built a really beautiful greenery for dappled light for landscape collage application. So that is a sneak peek into how you can just use one stencil over and over and over itself again to give yourself these wonderful rich layers. And when you tear this paper up, you look at the fact that you're going to be using little pieces like this for greenery in the landscape that give you light, medium, and dark all at the same time. So it is really a wonderful paper, the rice paper. And I love the stencil and the layers and layers of green. So there you have it. Thank you for being here, and happy Friday.